So the presidential debate is up and running like 3 hours, and I just have some thoughts about it. By the time you watch this, it's going to be over already, but it doesn't really matter. I think a lot of people are taking this is the lesser of the two evil uh, approach or attitude towards the Hall phenomenon. But I think if you look at it from a broader, non-dual awareness perspective, um, they sort of serve as a catalyst or a wake-up call or an alarm clock for people to start waking up and thinking for themselves. They're almost like part of a larger equation, the equation to write the most, to maximize the simulation's self-awareness, right? If you look at the matrix or the simulation as an organism or any system that's self-contained, will inevitably go through changes in order to adapt and to evolve to ensure its own self-sustaining mechanism so it can continue to survive. And even if the whole universe is a hologram, maybe they're just like color palettes to make the whole hologram as aesthetic as possible. Because if you look at the design or the visual elements of the two candidates, the red hair and the blonde dress and Donald Trump's little tiny lips, and he's like the way that they're visually appear is very cartoonish. It's like a freak show. It's like I don't know. It's just it's almost like this is exactly what should be happening in the dream substrate. And they're so embedded in their roles. They're like characters from some sick comedy, right? And but I think globally we're going through a shift in consciousness, in the collective consciousness. And I think I can only speak from personal experience of what I observe. When I went to the silent meditation retreat for 10 days, there were a lot of people there that are just normal folks. I was expecting old hipster faggots, but no, they're business types, athletic types, people that never meditated before. And they went through 10 days of complete silence, meditate for 12 hours a day. As a response to maybe the materiality of the world. If you look at yoga, it was completely weird and off the wall just 20, 30 years ago. It was reserved for their very selected few. But now soccer moms, if they don't go to yoga practice after they drop off their kids to feel better about cheating on their husbands or to relieve stress, they're considered abnormal. Now there's a big difference between practice and spirituality for truth, for self-realization, for enlightenment, versus for sort of an upgrade of the self. Sometimes they complement, sometimes they don't, sometimes they're totally dialectic, totally opposite of each other. But that's for another topic. But anyway, in my prediction, meditation is going to be as popular as bodybuilding in the next 50 years. It is a bodybuilder for the mind. And the two endeavors that I partake in, spirituality and bodybuilding, totally complement each other. The stronger that I get, the more muscle, the denser the muscle my muscles become, the more I feel a spontaneous gravitational pull to be grounded on the meditation floor, to sort of soften and untangle the residue of the ego, or just to meet my other end in a contracting expansion kind of way. And contraction can only happen if there's an expansion. I first got into meditation because I wanted to cure my sex addiction and other mental disturbances. I don't like to label them as illnesses, but if you want to put them in a textbook, manic depressive, OCD, maybe even ADHD, I don't know. But I have those tendencies, and now they're more or less under control. And see, a lot of people got into spirituality because they're extremely depressed. And as a whole, as a society, as a collective response to Kim Kardashian's sex tape, people are turning into meditation retreats in order to sort of resolve the discontent of this more superficial materialistic element of society. And you can never just look at one element on its own. You always have to look at the broader pictures. Because if you listen to Hegel's philosophy, he talks about the zeitgeist, the spirit of the age. He thinks history is nothing but the manifestation of the collective consciousness, what he calls spirits. For him, there is no material world. There's not even the individual spirit for Hegel. He was looking at it from a much broader perspective, that he thinks history, or even the world, is just a process of unfoldment of this spirit of the age. Again, he called zeitgeist. And this process of transformation and transcendence takes 3 stages. First, there's the thesis. Anything that's happening right now is the thesis. And then there's going to be an antithesis that serves as a response in a dialectical fashion to that thesis. And something else emerge, right? The antithesis. Thesis, antithesis, and then the two merge. The two have sex, and then a new form or new epoch is born. And he calls that the synthesis of the first two elements. And that new thesis will have another response, another antithesis. So you can never just label one thing as just this or that, A and B, or just thesis and antithesis. You have to zoom out of the space inside the yin and yang circle, inside the game of duality and words and concept, and detach yourself. Just like how in meditation, you're becoming the watcher or the silent witness of your thoughts. And that space outside the yin and yang circle, it's a space where you can sit back and just let things unfold and watch the whole election like a cartoon. Because the universe doesn't know how to make a mistake. Things just happen all by themselves. We're just pulling along for the ride as a part of a collective transformation of the zeitgeist. Because from that perspective, everything's happening as it should.
You know, sometimes like when I take naps, I get lucid dreams. Right? It got to the point where I'm like, I take naps just to experience. Yeah. And then this one time I had a dream where I had this gun in my hand and there's a guy in front of me and I'm like, shit, it's a dream. So like,
you just shoot him, right?
No, I didn't shoot him. I just pointed the gun at him and he ran away. And I'm like, oh shit.
But you know, that's you too, right? The guy that ran away is in your brain. Everything that you see is arising like through your consciousness.